welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my first quarter update for my annual financial goals. So I do like to track these kind of quarterly to see how I'm doing, what progressions I'm making, and that way if I fall kind of off board or I forget that I'm supposed to be working on something, I have time to figure out a new plan. So I will link my video down below of my annual goals for this year if you want to kind of hear more about them. But I'm going to just work through the list. I have them all written out here with the progress I've made. So first of all, maxing out my HSA. So I have a high deductible health plan through my employer, which allows me access to an HSA. The limit for the year is $3,650. I have contributed in $900, so it's about $300 a month, which is 24.65% of the way to that completion mark. So very exciting there. I'm definitely on track with that. Number two is to max out my Roth IRA for the tax year of 2022. So I have been focusing on the money that I'm putting into my Roth IRA, still working on the 2021 tax year. So I have not put any dollars into my 2022 tax year, but of course, April is here. You're seeing this video. So going forward, I will be able to put money into the next tax year. So zero, have not made progress on this goal, but I knew the first quarter wasn't going to have anything happen. Number three, complete my emergency fund. So I am working towards a 3-month emergency fund for myself. I am 75.66% of the way there. I should have this done in a couple of months, which is very, very exciting. It just feels good to have that money grow in my bank account. Definitely feels secure, but I will leave a video down below of how I determined how much to put in my personal emergency fund. That might be something that can help you go through a process like that. I'm putting in 3 months of expenses plus a little bit of a buffer. So yeah, that is still a work in progress, but hopefully we'll have that done in the next 2-3 months. Okay, my goal for retirement, save 15% of my gross salary for retirement. So for me, I make $75,000 a year at my normal job. So that would be $11,250. So that can be across, the Roth IRA, my 401k, things like that. So far I have contributed, let's see here, $1,762.50. So I'm at 15.66% of reaching that, full amount. Again, I'm putting most of my extra money into my emergency fund right now. So once that is completed, I'll be able to shift gears and really focus on the retirement. Kind of on the retirement note, my next goal is to increase my 401k contributions. So at the end of March, I had not increased those contributions. Again, waiting for that emergency fund to be done, and then I will bump everything up. For the retirement, I do think I can still hit this overarching 15% goal pretty easily, but just, yeah, the priority of focus is different this first quarter. Okay, number 6, 15% of my total income should come from passive sources. So for me, passive income is anything that I'm earning that doesn't require like extra work or extra time on my part. So for example, filling out surveys for money, I would consider active because I have to sit down and actually focus on that task. Whereas cashback or different rewards, I don't really have to spend as much time with that. So like GetUpside, I use regularly. For me, it's like 2 clicks on an app. It doesn't take that much time. So I do consider that be passive, but everybody has different definitions. So for me, currently 15.13% of my income so far this year has been passive, which is just shy of $2,400. So that's pretty good. Definitely on track there. Number 7, make $600 from YouTube. So I usually get a check every other month-ish, sometimes every 3 months. It just kind of depends how the cutoff ends up being. But I have made, so I'm only counting what's actually been like deposited into my bank, not what the analytics say. So 105.20 for the year, so 17.53%. I know I'm getting close to another check, so I should have another one and make this progress. I do think that 600 is pretty reasonable. That's about $50 a month. If you're not familiar, for Google AdSense, which is what YouTube runs from, you have to have $100 earned before you can get a check. So when I make $50 a month, for example, I have to wait to get that check until I surpass that $100 threshold. So that's just something to keep in mind. Number 8, keep my expenses at 65% or less. So every month I do a budget recap video here on my channel. I go through my expense section. So my expense section includes all of my regular bills. It includes my groceries, my gas, and my spending money, like my personal spending money. I categorize all of those as expenses. So I'd like to have that section at 65% of my total budget. And then I have funds and investment and like cash flowing things. So that's where the perspective is if you're unfamiliar. I currently am at 64.22% for the year so far. So $10,011 out of $15,587 has gone to the expense section of my budget. So 64.22 is below 65%, feeling pretty good there. All right, number 9 is annual savings rate. I do calculate 2 different savings rates every month. So the first one includes my mortgage principal and the other one does not. So the including the mortgage 25% and without including the mortgage 20%. So far this year, my year to date is for the mortgage 28.96 and the no mortgage is 22.63. So I am doing better than the goals I've set so far, which is really great. March is a very expensive month for me. I pay my taxes. I have just a lot of annual bills that are due in March. So coming out of March and still seeing that I'm on track with those goals feels really good because the rest of the year, until we get to the last quarter, like quarter 2 and quarter 3 should be pretty easy for me. The last quarter with Christmas and my birthday and New Year's and extra time off of work, that can get a little expensive, but feeling good about where I'm at. Okay, number 10 and 11 go together. So they're 2 different net worth goals, 200,000 and 300,000. I have not surpassed either of those yet. I'm sitting closer to 150 right now. So those are not done, still in progress, really hoping to at least get to the 200 mark this year, if not further. But so much of that does depend on investments, on how the stock market is doing, how my house is doing. So there's only so much you can control in that. I am debt free except for my house. So like checking that off already gave me a big jump. And so just trying to stay the course with investing and putting money in every month anyway, to build that up. Number 12 is no credit card debt. So I have remained credit card debt free, which feels really great. As soon as I turn that corner, I really prefer not to look back. I do see that there could be certain circumstances that come up. Somebody is ill or there's a funeral I have to fly to, and there can be things that come up, but that's hopefully being buffered by the emergency fund, at least for the first piece there. And then number 13, my last goal is to read at least one personal finance book. I have not read a book yet, but a good friend of mine who is also involved and interested in finances sent me 2 books. She sent me the Millionaire Next Door and I Will Teach You to Be Rich. So I do plan to read both of those, starting one of them here shortly, actually, as soon as I finish the other book I'm reading, because I can only do one at a time. But I do plan to actually read both of those this year. So it would be nice to reach the one and then go past it. So those are my 13 money goals for the year and the progress that I have achieved within the first quarter. I do plan to film these every quarter to give you the update of where I'm at. So for next quarter, some very specific areas I feel like I can focus in on. I kind of already talked about is the Roth IRA, being that it's the new tax year. I'll be able to start seeing progress in that goal. Also, as soon as I finish my emergency fund, I can start shoveling more money into my Roth IRA, and I also plan to increase my 401k contribution. So both of those things kind of go hand in hand, the retirement and the emergency fund, because I'm making prioritizations, but those should be things that I'm able to see more progress in. And I'd love to have at least one of those personal finance books completed before the next quarter. So those are going to be kind of my mini goals for my big goals, if that makes sense. But yeah, let me know down below how you are doing with your annual goals, and if you've had maybe changes or things that have come up that have allowed you to accelerate faster than you imagined. Let me know so I can congratulate you and cheer you on as well. I think it's really interesting to hear what everybody else is working on. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.